everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, I am making some Galentine's treats for my friends to celebrate Galentine's Day. And I'm starting off with some red velvet cake pops, and I'm just using the cake mix from like the store, so like the box mix, pouring in all the flour that it comes with, then adding 1 cup of water, 1/3 cups of oil, and 2 eggs. Then I'm using my hand mixer to mix that all together. I highly recommend investing in a hand mixer. These are not that expensive. I think I got this like 5 years ago for like 30 bucks from Walmart, and it lasted me for so long, and I like it. It's really functional, it gets the job done, and it just makes baking so much easier. So as you saw there, I just put all of that into a baking pan and then threw that in the oven. And once it finished baking, I let it cool down. Then I added 2 heaping scoops of frosting, and I'm mixing that all together to make the cake pop dough. So it's like, it should feel like playing sand, like, like that fun magic sand that you played with when you were a kid. And if not, it should feel like cookie dough, something like that, something that you can squeeze like Play-Doh. Yeah. So anyways, so mixing it all up together. From what I see on TikTok and even just from my experience of making cake pops, red velvet cake pops, or red velvet cake is not the same texture as like regular cake, such as like regular cake, like chocolate cake or vanilla cake. So you might have to add a couple more, not like too much, but just a couple more scoops of frosting, and just add it gradually until you get the desired consistency where you can mold the cake pops into a spear or whatever shape you want without cracks. And yeah, and even with this, I still had like cracks in my cake balls because like it just couldn't hold together. And I just said, like, you know what, let me just keep it as it is and just not temper it too, like, tamper with it too much. And then I just put it into like a to-go container, like a really big one, then throw it in the fridge to sit. And then when I'm ready to, like, assemble them, I just take them out of the fridge, let it sit out, and then I gently, like, decorate them. You'll see. So yeah, as you can see here, I am just molding them into spears. Obviously, this is really sped up, but I did take my time to like thoroughly mold them into very secure spears. Like I said before, but red velvet cake is very crumbly. It has like it has like apple cider vinegar and different ingredients that is not the same texture as like chocolate, vanilla, and other kinds of cake. So it took a while for me to really, excuse me, get it into the spear, but not just get into a spear, but get into a spear where it's completely like solid, where there's like no cracks or hollowness inside that would like kind of like break off when I put the stick inside to dip them in chocolate. And you'll see when I'm decorating it that their cracks like still appear, but then I just cover those parts up with sprinkles to make it look, nicer. So I did this part off camera, but I just took like cake pop sticks and dipped them in candy melts, then dipped it into the cake ball. And these cake pops are being face down, so I am dipping these candy melts, I'm dipping these cake pops into the candy melts and then facing them down on parchment paper. As you just saw, that cake pop did crack, like the cake ball. And that's just always the struggle that I have had with red velvet cake pops because of the consistency of the cake. So I just end up going with it, and then you can see I use the sprinkles and I intentionally put it on where it's cracked so it kind of like fills in that crack space. But from what I've had, I never had a cake pop that cracked so much that like it broke through the candy melt. Usually it just stays secure and I just cover it up with like sprinkles and whatnot. So now I'm taking the cake pops and I'm putting them into these little plastic baggies. And these baggies make the cake pops look super nice, and they're really great if you want to make these cake pops for like goodie bags or for what I'm doing, which is a treat exchange. And I got these from Walmart. No, I think I got these ones from Michael's. I got about 100 for $7. And then also Walmart has a really good deal where you can get like 50 under the Wilton brand for like $2.27. So yeah, that's really good. Next, I'm taking some ribbon and I'm just tying that around the cake pops, doing a double knot, and then I'm using some scissors to curl them to make them look nice and pretty. So next I'm making this recipe that I literally came up with in my head as I was making it. So I'm just getting some lemon cake mix and I'm following the instructions that are on the back of the box. And then to make it a bit more of my own or just to add some more to it, I add in I squeeze in half a lemon and I do this to enhance the lemon flavor of the cake mix. However, I guess that cake mix doesn't use natural like lemon flavoring or whatnot. So that's the reason why it's not as pungent because when I'm eating a lemon dessert, I want it to be really lemony. Like I want to taste that lemon and like I want that flavor to be bold. But I find that the lemon flavor in these cake mixes are very subtle. So I honestly could have just added a whole lemon, like the juice of a whole lemon, but that'd be too much. So I don't know, you let me know. Probably I should have added some lemon zest or whatnot to really get that lemon flavor out there. And yeah, but also I find that when I'm making like cupcakes or just even like cake in general with box cake mix, if it's not from scratch, like compared to when I make it from scratch, I find that like box cake mix is very like like it's obviously soft because it's a cake. So as you can see here, I'm adding a third cup of flour, and I do that to make the cupcakes more dense but soft at the same time. So like you can eat it, but it won't crumble in your hand. Or when you put like frosting over it, or you let's say line your cupcakes with like a cupcake liner, when you peel the liner, half the cupcake doesn't like break in half, or like the top doesn't come right off. I don't know. I just find when I add some flour, it makes it like sturdy enough, but like still soft that you can enjoy it as the cake it is. And as you can see here, or as you just saw, I also added some fresh raspberries because I wanted it to be like a lemon raspberry cupcake, and that's what I'm just I don't know, that's what I was craving. But anyways, so I had the silicone heart-shaped mold and I just put in my cake batter inside of that. Obviously, this is way too much cake batter for just 6 molds. So I actually had some extra cupcake like I have my cupcake pans and I just put all the excess batter into that and made just a whole lot more. But these are the star of the shows. Like this is what I brought for my friends to enjoy. So yeah, just threw that in the oven and then now I'm working on this brownie. I will probably release a brownie recipe later, but yeah, these are just brownies I made from scratch. I love making brownies. I think it's the first thing I ever made from scratch, and they come out super good all the time. So now that the cupcakes are out from the oven, I believe I let them. Yeah, I let these. I'm taking them out for it to cool, and as you can see, I made a whole lot more, and they came out looking delicious. So now that the brownies have cooled, I am just cutting them into squares, and these tasted super amazing. They kind of over baked, but I felt like I like my brownies to have a nice, I don't know, a nice crust on the outside, then super like nice and decadent and gooey and soft on the inside. So these came out great. A little bit drier than usual, but they were still really good. So once the cupcakes cooled down, like really, really cooled down, I realized I had some excess candy melts. And I'm like, why don't I just like dip these cupcakes into the candy melts and see how they go? And they went amazing. So I ended up just doing that with all the cupcakes I had, and then just adding all these sprinkles I found in my pantry and just decorating like crazy. I even found this like sprayable, edible gold paint sprayer and I put that on and I promise it's edible. It looks quite extreme, but like look how cool that looks. So and also my little sister helped me decorate. So you may see her hand. That's not her hand. I think that's my hand. But anyways, it was really nice. So I'm just packaging that away. These are for my friends and then the extra ones are for my family. And then here, I didn't even bring this to like the Galentine's thing because they came out disgusting. I hated the way these came out. But if you can, as you can see here, I'm just dipping some strawberries in some chocolate. The chocolate didn't melt that well because honestly, I didn't take my time to melt them properly. And yeah, so here are the finished treats. They look amazing and they tasted super good. And it was just my first and best Galentine's ever. And I'm so excited to continue this tradition of just doing a treat exchange with my friends and just, going out and celebrating your girls. After that, some of the girls who were going back home the same way as me, we stopped at Delices, and here's what I got to treat myself, even as if I didn't have more treats to eat. And I will say my treats did taste better, but these were pretty good. Yeah, so here's us, and happy Galentine's Day.